The dust has little time to fall before we rejoin our heroes this evening, as the gravekeeper, foul to the ninth degree, breathes his last at the feet of Kirkfall. Dragon has slipped away to investigate the gravekeeper's hovel and has discovered the rest of the sought after goods, the stolen books, and found a letter of the enemy describing their plan. Some horrible, despicable plan somehow to blot out the sun with foul magics. Isn't such a thing impossible to do? But there's many things in this world that we don't know, and perhaps Moonglove is part of the issue. Welcome back, everybody. Now, I turn you loose. Tone, would you describe yourself to the rest of the audience?
Hi, I'm Tone, Weldman slave, wearing now a great shield and an iron axe. He has red hair, scars. We just finished fighting this evil thing, learning this evil plot. Still a bit shaken up from fighting that evil little child thing. And yeah, that's about Tone at the moment.
Visibly shaken, I'm sure. What do we see of Kirkfall?
Yeah, Kirkfall is kind of sweaty, and his hair is tousled from the fight. He actually looks kind of dark. His eyes cast sort of down, so to speak, sort of darting, and I don't know, like he is bothered by something. Depressed, maybe. The ogre that is Kirkfall, 8 feet tall, 2 kukris hanging in his hands. He is hoping that he has the force of will to push forward. Right now, he just needs a nap.
Thank you, Dave. What do we see of Dragon within the hovel?
Dragon's looking at this message. His wood-colored eyes sort of almost staring through it. He can see the words, but he keeps seeing this child impelling herself upon his spearhead over and over and over again, and checks himself out of it. Brushes his hands across or pushes his helm back up, brushes his hand across his face to possibly wipe away tears. Looks down at this thing, his breastplate, oddly not covered with any kind of blood, apparently, because this thing wasn't really alive. And he seems to expect it. It seems, looking down at the rest of his gear, his battle skirt, his greaves upon his in front of his boots, reminiscent of a Spartan aesthetic. His skin dark gray with black streaks and such, reminiscent of bark as well. Seems to quiver, and then he stops, shakes his head, and then takes the note outside of the hovel to the rest. Says, "I think I found something," and I read it to the rest of them.
The only traces of blood that you'll actually find on Dragon's person is the still dark, inky black goop that is clinging to the end of the spear, almost as if it's like a milky tar-like consistency of once was possibly blood and now the stuff of shadows. The letter speaks of a plot to cast Felport under an immense shadow by blotting out the sun. But those of you who are familiar with the ways of magic, you would not believe that this is a possible thing. For the sun, the star in the sky that lights the day, as far as you are aware, is indeed the goddess Levantine, the Lady of the Dawn, the Lady of the Day, the Lady of Light. She's not worshipped here in Felport, but she is widely accepted as the light of day. What do you do as you gather yourselves here?
I'm thinking, looking about at what all we have here. I'm going to do for a knowledge deal, an apothecary roll.
Excellent, go for it.
It'll be a 19 total. Put this moon glove. I look about. Kirkfall, how potent is this stuff?
What are you wanting to do with it?
Well, I know you have a reputation in the city of knowing about these things. Yes, us guards know many things about all of you. But
He kind of looks at you for a second with a sidelong glance, like, what the fuck?
he just doesn't even acknowledge the look. He says, I wonder how much it would take to kill a god. As he looks around.
Wow, as he kind of shakes himself from his puzzlement of the fact that there's a dossier on himself, he considers it, and I am aware of them, but I never met one. Have you, Tone? Have you met a god?
Never. But of course, there is the stun in the sky.
We do all see a god every day. Well, if the stories are true and that truly is a god.
Well, I mean, Kirkfall is a gift to the people, but he kind of chuckles.
I'll just
what are you talking about?
This letter, the idea that their plot is to bring Felport under darkness by blotting out the sun. Isn't that occasionally used as a euphemism for murdering someone to blot them out?
I could see that.
And with this much moon glove, and apparently they have enough already harvested. I've never seen this much of this in my life together. I mean, I've heard stories of it. That's about it.
I saw the patch on the road, and that was the most I've ever seen up until now. I didn't even know this stuff existed until now.
We could sell this.
We could, but then again, this would be enough to kill the entire city.
Yeah, we probably couldn't be selling that type of stuff.
I'll look over at Kirkfall and...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I'll look over at Kirkfall and say, I'm sure the city guard would buy all that from us. smile a little bit.
You know, there is one thing that's important to keep a city alive, and that's its people. So I don't think that, at least most of the populace, I don't think would want to murder the whole city.
That's true. There are a few, though. And I'll have to say, I'll sort of look around almost out of, just an instinct. I say, both in the underworld and in the high keep, in the tower. So,
Likely, yes.
so that much Moonglove being available might not be the best thing. Even though it might bring us a lot of gold.
Yeah. Speak your mind, Tone.
Well, I was just thinking, this is all pretty dark stuff, and we recently had a job from a pretty shady person to come down here. Why was he sending people down here? So I'm just thinking maybe we should check in with Spider, see if we could get anything out of him.
Just share it out loud with the guardsman here. He's just like, fuck.
By this point, I fought shoulder to shoulder. I trust God.
I'll just smile. We understand that there are certain individuals in the city that skirt the law, and that a certain amount of that is required for things to operate, if you will. And besides, he pays handsomely to bribe certain guards, I'm sure, and others.
One in particular, yeah.
So, what is your decision to do with the remaining Moonglove blooms?
Well, I don't. It's going to take some time to cut this down. Does it burn? And would it threaten the rest of the?
No, it'll burn up nice.
Would it threaten the surrounding if we burned it?
No, it should not. From your knowledge, no, it doesn't seem like it would.
Let's just burn it.
That sounds like a good idea to me.
I agree. Less paperwork, for one. And I so enjoy paperwork.
Yeah, like that name, just, tied to mine. Not necessary.
True, but I mean, I would have to know exactly why I wasn't putting something into a report to not put it into a report in the first place.
Right. I really don't know him. I've heard the name around, So as he's walking to get a torch or something, start lighting it.
Sure enough, the flower beds do light up nicely. You don't have any ill effects.
Is there anything worth taking in the shack that's there?
There wasn't really, just the last book in this this letter. Oh, by the way, what material is this letter of? Is this like a fine cloth, or a fine paper, like a cheap paper? Something that maybe a nobleman may use, or
No, it would be kind of some poor quality kind of scratch cloth
okay. So
nothing that you would you'd see in a nobleman's writing desk, if you will.
Okay, so it could definitely be someone from lower down the food chain as far as the social hierarchy goes. Okay, I am, I guess, gonna keep watching outside while Kirkfall does his thing and make sure any kind of ritual materials that are basically laying about and such gets tossed into the fire as well to make sure it's destroyed, so no more of this darkness can spread out to anyone else.
You do, however, find what seems to be the Gravekeeper's spell book.
Oh.
As you make another cursory look in his hovel.
Okay. Well, that would be Kirkfall, actually, because he'd be looking in there at this point.
I don't think Kirkfall's going to be able to fit in there.
Okay. Okay, in that case,
fair.
Yeah. Gotcha.
I'm not. I'm not. The
roof comes off. Yeah. He looks inside.
Oh, he's not that big.
Okay. Okay. Is it? How is this spell book put together? What does it look like? Is it well bound or just a collection of papers between a couple of boards or what?
Well, the covers are two boards bound in what looks to be some ratty old buckskin, and then between it there is there's probably like 20, 30, or maybe 40 some odd papers that are, some are falling out, some are not, but on the inside of the boards are actually wax tablets. Like they had taken a wax tablet, ripped it apart, and put a binding in it, and then put pages in there. So it's a blend of both. Most poor scribes have wax tablets. Not many people can actually afford the actual book.
Okay, I'll look the pages. Sort of, I don't want to read too in depth into what it is, but sort of get an idea of what this guy was involved with. I'm assuming necromancy, based on the.
Yes, there are. From what you understand, actually, hold on. Make an occult insight check for me.
Okay. Probably not be very good, unfortunately. Be a 10. No, 11. 10. 11. Sorry, 11.
Okay. There's at least 2 tiers of the necromancy pillar in here, but there are notes on other pillars, not spells, but notes, almost as if he's copied a part or two from someone's spell book. He's stolen a few pages, perhaps. All the paper seems to be cobbled together from different. They're different. The different qualities of paper, different like ages.
Okay.
So what it looks to be, there's like 5 different books in this whatever the hell binder thing that you're holding.
Okay. Are they from all different pillars, or is there a specific one he's looking into, or?
Well, it's mostly the necromancy pillar.
Okay.
There are notes. There are notes on the wild pillar. There are notes on the enchantment pillar and the oracular pillar.
Okay.
Nothing that would complete actual spells or rituals, though. Things that he's learned.
Just him studying, huh? That means there might be others involved with this of different pillars. Okay. Which, just so you guys know, the other people, I'll be looking at this thing sort of oddly, almost with a concerned look on my face. So, inside my head, of course, the thought is that typically, if you're studying a pillar, you stick to that pillar. You don't dabble in other ones. So having notes from other pillars inside your spell book is very odd, and possibly the sign of a madman, which this guy was.
Did you find his sketchbook, the naughty sketches, erotica?
No
I mean,
erotica.
that's what I would expect from someone that lives out in a hut in the
Yeah.
middle of freaking.
Oh yeah. Well, he's apparently trying to study oracular magic of some type, though not very far from what I can. Well, not that I know very much of it, but this is. I close it with a snap. It's a vile thing. You know, you could literally destroy the universe by doing this kind of thing.
Is Dragon actually in the hovel still?
I'm at the door, so where I can talk to everybody else.
Okay.
So,
Make an awareness roll, please.
okay.
So why are you shaking your head?
Just Tone's never I've never dealt with this level of stuff before. You know, I was used to just traveling around helping people deal with small problems, dealing with people who want to end the universe. It's a big thing.
Yeah. Well, there is a big fire there.
Yeah, but like Dragon said, they were able to harvest some still.
Dragon will actually spy what looks to be another loose leaf sheet of kind of like that scratch cloth on the nightstand, just opposite the desk that you found the spell book on.
Okay. I'll reach over and pick it up. This is a small hovel, probably just right there.
Yeah,
So I'll pick it up and look at it.
You just reach it. I will say you actually have a friend who is actually an oracle, and you've seen this ritual cast before. This is the eye spell.
Oh wow!
Yes,
it's actually the whole spell written out.
Yes, it's in expedited format. However, I mean, because it'll fit on like a 7x10 sheet of scratch cloth. But yeah, that's the
Good. I'll look at it and of course look away fairly quickly so I don't read too much of it. It's not my area, and I'll take that and fold it and I'll put that in. Well, no, I won't put them, but I'll slide that inside my breastplate just for safekeeping. I'm gonna have to take that back and actually speak with some folks at the library, and probably my oracle friend about this. So, because that is a bad thing. So
he's been using oracular magic to spy on someone or something. Clearly, this gravekeeper is far more than he was.
Yes.
And he is much closer to this Seloth than you probably originally thought.
You'd have to be able to. I mean, who would teach a necromancer oracular magic? That's horrifying. The idea of it.
I'm assuming as all of this has been going on, Kirkfall has been burning the crops there, correct?
Yeah, making sure that it continues to burn.
Okay. It'll stay pretty well contained in the flower beds, but it may be about 10-15 minutes more and you'll pretty much be finished.
Okay. Yeah, probably. I would imagine that the smoke coming from it is very pungent, and albeit a sweet smell, it's very strong, and unfortunately probably lingers in the nostrils. So trying to stay upwind from it and covering our mouth and nose is best practice, because I don't think that burning it would affect you because it's a different, but it might actually cause a coughing fit and make you not feel too hot. Actually, it is respiratory, excuse me. So it might very well cause this.
The
This is
fragrance
Tommy
that
Gun.
burning moon glove does give off, it's like a rotting mango.
But Kirkfall would have known that it's not. It's best when it's still fresh, not burned.
Of course.
Okay, because it does affect the respiratory. That's why. But the smoke could cause a or a coughing fit, I would imagine. Probably
Yeah,
make you feel like crap.
the fumes and the smoke isn't going to kill you. It's similar to a campfire. Where do you guys wish to go from here?
My thought is to head up back into town and go find my my oracle friend and turn over this this rune. He might be able to at least tell us what this person was spying on or who he was talking to with it. I don't know if they can do that or not. So, or actually, really, what can he do with it? That'd be something he'd be able to tell us.
Do you set out for the city?
Yeah, I think that we would be heading back.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay. We can make sure and get your money back. The second half of your money is for you as well.
Yeah.
Get you guys fully paid up. Now, maybe further, tasks for you. You never know. There are certain things that generally guards don't like to do or can't do. So, okay.
Yeah, we'll be holding on to Moon's half since he keeps skirting out on us.
True.
I think I heard him talking like he had a headache or something.
Okay. Yeah. Very possibly.
I need Kirkfall to make an awareness test as you guys are leaving the cemetery.
It's in the 16.
All right, perfect. In one of the ditches, as you guys are leaving the area where the Gravekeeper's hovel is, you see a familiar, deep cowled, high scarfed cloak hanging in a thorn bush. It's got blood stains on it, and below that is the corpse of a very familiar and recognizable friend that you've not seen. A short individual you'd known from your childhood.
Kirkfall kind of gives a double take at the cloak, and as he starts walking in that direction, he starts saying no and runs up to the body and just picks it up and begins holding his face and checking his throat for something, any sign of anything.
The corpse has been dead for what seems to be about a chain and a half now. You being a master of death and being familiar with that, you know how a corpse ages. However, a short way, a few feet away, is another individual, similarly dressed and equally as foul in appearance as the gravekeeper you just slain, but this human, slightly shorter. The corpse in your hand is clutching a dagger stained with blood after the time. Looking at the corpse opposite him, it looks like he got in one last good stab to the neck. He's opened his throat all the way to his spinal column. Whatever happened, he went out swinging.
I'll respect Kirkfall's space in that body, but I'll go over to the other body and check it out and see if there's anything significant I can find on it, identifying marks, objects, whatever, things that might link into something in town that I might be able to follow back. Basic clues.
This corpse that you're investigating is, beyond a shadow of a doubt, a dead Attian.
Okay.
You find on him another spell book.
Okay.
I need you to find yourself an occult insight test, please.
Okay. Occult insight. Okay.
Okay. In this equally ratty, cobbled together binder of notes is the spells of the enchantment pillar of 4 tiers and notes on the oracular pillar. It would seem that this gravekeeper had a partner, and more clues to a greater conspiracy here.
Yes. I'll take this one. And is this body wearing a cloak of any kind, or no? I'm sure it's still wearing clothing. I'm going to tear off a bit of the cloth, wrap this book up in it, and I guess that's I'm sure that's traceable as well. I'm sure that's traceable as well as far as who it might belong to. So this could possibly be the person who did the magic rune thing. I'll say that part out loud. So
the corpse of the Attian is clad in peasant rags, as was the gravekeeper. But he's armed with a pair of bronze daggers and a few vials of what look to be liquids, possibly poisons, drugs, or what have you.
Those I will handle very carefully and set them aside. I'll say those for Kirkfall just in case. Well, I guess I could probably do an apothecary check on them, couldn't I?
Go for it.
So I have to figure out what those are. Oh, that first one's a good roll. Apothecary. First one's going to be an 18. Let's see if I can put what they are. You may do one for each of the vials or just in general?
No, just in general.
Okay.
He's got a vial of moonglove extract, which is the white one.
Okay.
There's another greenish, kind of brown, almost like a fetid cesspool kind of extract. You have no idea what that is, but it looks like fecal matter.
Wonderful.
But the other one, you don't know what that is. It's clear, like water, but
never trust clear water.
No.
Okay. Well, I'll pull the daggers off the corpse and give Kirkfall a moment or so for his grief, and then I'll call his name, Kirkfall. I've got these 3 vials here. One's definitely Essence of Moonglove, but I don't know.
Kirkfall had taken the cloak and had laid it out, and had taken the body of Kveldov and laid him within and wrapped him and reclasps the cloak, and he picks him up, and like you were born a friend, and as if he weren't already looking dark, his eyes appear to be he's squinting, and he's kind of gritting his teeth a lot.
Mhm.
And so he comes over, and he's I mean he doesn't seem to respond initially to your request, and then he comes over and he looks at it, and what did you say?
I point to the one with the white liquid in it, moonglove extract. The other two, I don't know.
By sight, does it stand out to me, or
The brown one that he holds looks like it, it looks like a sample of a cesspool.
that's shit?
Hmm.
And
The
the
last one just looks like clear water.
nothing ringing a bell on that.
No, there might be a little bit of algae in it, or maybe something, but nothing sinister. But you're not in the place to be trusting at this point.
Yeah. Well, I'm also not in the place to be. I'm kind of half thinking, and reeling at the moment. But
Of course, of course.
so yeah, he just shakes his head at the clear bottle.
Well, it's not very much, but in my culture, it's customary for Warrior Falls, those who he takes with him's possessions become the property of that one's family. You seem to be the closest thing here at the moment, so I hold up the two daggers and the 3 vials. Hold them out to you.
I'll reach out and take the 2 daggers and put them in my bag, and then take the vials and we'll wrap them up, and then put them on my belt.
Be careful with those.
Definitely.
How far back is the? Well, I guess the fire still smoldering by chance. With the
It's
moon
died. It's died down at this point. So yeah, it's starting to smolder. It's
Okay.
safe to leave.
Okay, I want to take the Italian's body, pick it up, and throw it on what's left of that fire.
Before you do that, Kirkfall gently he puts up his hand to you, like hold a
Okay,
moment, and
I'll
he
stop.
sets down the body that he's holding, and he walks over to inspect the corpse.
Mhm.
And as he's doing so, he seems to be inspecting the handiwork of the fight, and seeing how well he did, etc. Do I recognize the Italian at all?
No, not a face that you would have known.
There's no marks on the hands, no tattoos, or
Oh, he's got plenty of tattoos. They're nautical themed tattoos here.
right.
He's wearing a kind of a uh he's wearing a blindfold that's scarlet, but it's probably a dirty cloth from sweat or some other thing. So it's a little darker, maybe like the color of wine. But that's the most prominent feature there. He's got plenty of puncture wounds. So Cavell Duff would have sliced him to pieces before he finally got stabbed.
Uh, So the Ateans, he's trying to remember back about the Ateans who wear blindfolds. He lifts the blindfolds and he takes out his kukri and he scoops out the eye and puts it into his palm and then does the same to the second one.
All right.
And puts them in his mouth. He has to wrench it open because it's probably still, it's clenched at this point. So he just basically breaks the jaw down and shoves his eyes into his mouth. And he basically crams the jaw closed. So it basically splits the jaw in half as it crunches on the eyes. These, what, they may be shriveled eyes at this point, but they just crunch in there because he doesn't know a lot about the Ateans, but he knows that they are very, a lot of things circle around the eyes and seeing and so on. And he wraps the thing around its neck tightly and just cinches it. And he looks to Dragon and he just nods at him as he wipes the kukris off on him and puts them back in his scabbards and goes to pick up Kveldov.
Okay, I'll nod, toss the body on the flames, wave my hand a little bit to stir up a bit of a breeze to reignite the flames, if you will, make them burn a little bit hotter so they'll flare up. I turn around to Kirkfall as I'm walking away and say, they also like being buried at sea.
He gets a half smirk from him.
You guys both can have 25 bonus XP. Well done. I will also cure 1 point of your shadow sickness for that. Desecrating the enemy's corpse. Well done.
Walking back to the city, he's not very talkative. And he says, I will be indisposed this evening once they get to the gates. And he leaves to go to find Margaret and Stig.
Fair enough.
As he walks off, I'll turn to Tone and say, well, Tone, shall we get you paid?
I never mind getting more gold in my pocket.
Okay. In that case, I'll head toward the library and of course, across the plaza of the library, the Great Temple. But I'll make sure to return the 3 books that are missing that were taken to the library and explain that Tone here and his company were the ones who retrieved them and was promised a reward of 25 gold pieces for their return. So, of course, in addition to what they've already been paid, so that get him paid and such. And then also, Tone, have you ever met an oracle?
I have not met much of the magic users, spiritual world.
They're a bit different, but they drink as well as other men. So come with me. So at that point, I'm going to head over to find my oracular friend, and
He'll
take
be at
him.
the library as well.
Well, I'll take him and Tone out to get a bit of a drink and have a conversation. So And if he's hesitant about doing that, I'll tell him that I don't want. I'm afraid there may be eyes at the library that don't need to see what I'm going to show him.
Fair enough.
So, okay. So I'm going to lead him down to one of the little bars that the guards congregate at times, and order us around and get us in a corner table, and slide the book, the oracular book, and the rune across the table to my oracular friend. What is his name,
All right,
by the way?
hang on a second. Are you
Okay.
going to the bar, or are you actually going to the library? Because these are two different places on two
Oh.
different sides of the city.
Well, the idea was to go to the library first, take the books back.
Okay.
And
Because
then
you're all going to be doing that in one stop then.
yes, and then basically go from my oracle at the library and say, I want you to go with me to the bar, basically. I'm going to tell him, I have some just to show you. You just return the books to the library, meet me there, or come with me, or whatever. So,
All right, I'll describe the scene for you then.
Okay.
All right. As you guys arrive at the library there, as you know, the last time you were here, they were actually conducting classes. You were not told what kind of classes on whatever the pillars they were, but Feyhammer did tell you that no one was allowed in. The library has been reopened at this time. There's a clerk at the table, the front desk, if you will, and she, an Ebonese woman, you do not know her name, she greets you in the formal fashion, and she asks you, how may she help you? What can I do for you guys today?
Yes, I have 3 volumes to return that we were tasked with retrieving. Books that were taken by someone who do not need to have them.
Oh, well, I thank you. She holds out her hands for them.
There was payment that was offered for them.
Who was offering payment for these?
Oh, that's right. They were the priests. I'll be right back. And I walk over to Tone. I forgot about that. The priests were the ones who hired you, weren't they? Made a fool of myself again. Sorry about that. Mind on other things and such.
No problem. Let's get this information figured out first, then.
Works for me. Would you prefer me to go ahead and give her the books now and get a receipt for them for payment, or would you prefer to hold on to them until you get paid?
No, let's return these books.
Okay.
We'll work out payment.
Okay.
The librarian there will give you a she'll give you a writ for them, saying that she has them in her possession. She's one of many librarians.
Okay. And that I'll make sure Tone gets that, and I'll tell him, and that's what I'll ask him. Have you ever met an oracle before? And and then I'll go looking for my oracle friend in the library there.
Well, Aelmar, you haven't spoken to him in a while, but he is actually, he sticks out like a sore thumb here. He is actually of the Dawn fair folk. Golden skin, raven haired. He's the only Westerner here in Felport that you know of, beside yourself and the other Arborians. He looks up from his studies. He's actually sitting at his desk. He smiles. Oh, good morning.
Good morning. Did you see us coming?
I did
Big
not.
grin.
I was looking elsewhere. He replies. He gets up from his desk quickly, actually, and he comes over and he embraces you. He's not graced my doorstep in some time. What can I get for you? A wine? An ale?
Well, possibly. Do you have somewhere we can talk where prying eyes won't be able to see? I have some delicate information I need to ask you about. And this is my friend Tone, by the way.
Elmar gives you a short bow. Good morning. Uh, a private audience?
Yes.
Close the door. Follow me.
Okay. I'll turn and close the door. So, Tone?
I follow him.
He has a brisk walk. He actually walks into kind of an off-hand chamber. He pulls back a kind of a midnight blue curtain. He goes, "Come on, come on, come on! Here,
Okay.
it'll be quite safe in here."
I'll slide by him.
And he kind of he closes the curtain behind you. Now, and he'll actually point to each of the runes around the doorway. He'll actually whisper, I'm like syllabically, half syllables. I think that's the word I'm looking for.
Syllabant?
Thank you, that one. Now,
Syllabically, or
yes, that. Thank
Okay.
you, syllabically. Wow, tripping over my own words here. So no, he points to each of the runes, and he whispers a short phrase, and they all glow. And he walks over to the window, and he will actually touch a rune at the bottom of the windowsill, and he'll light a couple candles. He'll motion to some seats, and he'll actually pull over a third stool. And the three of you are actually sitting on three-leg stools in the center of this room. And he goes, "What do you have for me?"
Well, first off, I'd like to let you know that my friend Tone here, Tone, Elmar Tone, he doesn't really run in our circles as much. He's not a devotee of the pillars. So
a man of the field is not the man of the study, I suppose.
Yes, he may require explanation on some things, but him and his company, which I accompanied and assisted, were tasked with retrieving some books for the library, and it turned out the person using those books was up to no good. It also turned out that he had an accomplice. He was a necromancer. And I pull out the
accomplice was the necromancer.
Well, no, the person we were retrieving the books from was a necromancer. And I pull out that spell book and slide it across. Said, just glance through it. You'll see what I saw, I'm sure.
He opens it cautiously, looking at you a little suspiciously. The damn thing's falling apart.
Yes. I'm not asking you to learn it. I'm just asking you to get an idea of what's in there and what seems to be odd other than the fact that it's falling apart.
Well, I see that this is unhallowed necromancy.
Mm-hmm.
I see. He gets to the notes section, and his eyes widen, but he furrows his brow after a few moments.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Mm-hmm. He also had this, and I'll slide the rune over to him.
The same person had this rune.
Yes. I don't know if he was using it or not, but I know it was in the hovel that the rest of the material was found. Not far away, though, we found a corpse of an Italian, and I hand him the wrapped oracular spell book there for that one, or enchanter, whichever one was. I don't know, but I'll slide that across to him too, and he was carrying this.
Well, you know what we say about dabblers.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Are these two disposed of now?
Yes, they are.
Good.
So, just so you know, Tone, we don't dabble. It's considered extremely bad form and, well, all but blasphemous, if you wish. Bad things happen when people do that. So
Elmar will turn to Tone and say, "Are you of a religious sort, Tone?"
I am not, sir.
All right. If you would consider um, a priest of one religion would dedicate himself to one god and then would not offer prayers or sacrifice to another god. This is the same when one would study the pillars. I am an oracle. My secrets and my pillar are used to foretell the future and to see beyond the veil and use the void to foretell. This is my pillar. When one dedicates oneself to a pillar, they do not offer sacrifice or prayers. He uses air quotes around prayers to another pillar. This is blasphemy, as would be for priests. These things are similar in this way, as you know now.
That analogy I do understand.
And as Aylmar is explaining this to you, he clearly he is an instructor of some kind, so he does break it down for you as if he is teaching you as a student, and he's very attentive to you in that manner. I will hold on to these, and then I will speak to my superiors here at the library. Do you have other business in the city, or will you come back and see me again?
I'm gonna interject, and I'm gonna take off the wrapped up vials, and I'm gonna carefully open it up, and I'm gonna ask him if he could recognize the other two vials, perhaps.
All right. Well, he does confirm to you that the brown vial is in fact a sample of fecal matter. And he goes, I hope this was not going to be used to poison a well.
Good thought.
The other is a sample of seawater, however.
Hmm.
He holds it up to the candlelight. You will see the algae within. See? Here.
Oh. Something that an Italian would probably just be carrying about. Yeah, I don't know. Possibly he was a follower of that, what do they call it? The cruising
whale
depths.
god.
The whale
Crushing
god.
depths,
Yeah.
yes.
Crushing depths, yes. Crushing depths. Very possibly to be a priest. Wonder there's conspiracy here now. Either way, yes, I will be in town. I have to escort Tone into the in the temple across the way and make sure he's properly compensated for his time for the job him and his crew did. They did a very good job, by the way. This fellow, but I'll be staying in touch.
I would hope that you do.
Although I'm not sure how often I'll be able to stay in touch, just depending on the my duties and such, of course.
Well, if you would like, you can send me a raven. I can offer you mine.
That's okay. I believe that I would be able to obtain one if need be. So, ravens have always given me a bit of a, I don't know, odd feeling.
I don't see why not. They're intelligent birds and reliable.
They are very intelligent birds.
He smirks.
Which is what makes me uncomfortable. I nervously laugh at that. You know, things with wings that can speak. I don't know. It just doesn't feel natural, if you know what I mean.
Is there anything else that you have for me? What is this mission? This project you're working on?
Well,
perhaps I can be of service to you in the future if there's.
You could definitely be. How much do I trust Elmar, by the way, out of character?
Oh, you've known him from several seasons. I
So,
would say, well, how old are you?
I guess I'd be about 130, give or take.
Elmar
So,
is about 4,800 cycles old.
okay, so he's been around for a little longer than me. Gotcha.
So I would say you've known him as long as you have been in Felport. How about that?
Okay.
He's one of the first friends that you actually made here. So he's
Okay.
very reliable as a contact for you.
In that case, I'll pull out the other letter, the correspondence that I first found, and I'll show him that. So we also found this, along with a large amount of moon glove being grown. We destroyed that. Too dangerous. But
Moonglove is illegal to cultivate, is it? It's supposed to be
yes,
simply a wildflower.
yes, there were flower beds of it at the location where we retrieved the rest of the stuff.
Oh, by
And
the
this,
gods, this is horrible.
well, considering the specific wording there about blotting out the sun, my thought first went to how much moon glove would it take to kill a god?
Oh, well, he kind of like stumbles over that as he's trying to respond. Uh, I I don't know. I don't think you could. A young god, perhaps. I don't think that you could slay any of our deities now with Moonglove. But I have noticed,
Mm-hmm.
and he actually gets up. He's still holding this piece of paper as he's finished reading. I have noticed something very foul, and I have a friend in a far off land who is a sun worshiper. And she has stated to me that the sun has becoming quite dim over the past 2 months.
Hmm.
He pulls back the curtain drawn over the window that actually looks out from the library, and you'll see the sun just past noon. You'll see that actually it is starting to become almost the light quality in Felbor is almost as if there is an eclipse going on, but there is no moon moving into the way. If you can picture that in your minds.
Yes.
No, this is as many cycles as I am. I have never noticed this sort of thing, and if this is actually true, whoever this is a powerful wizard.
I believe I might know the one. And he may be actually older than you.
He must be. He would have to be.
If you could do some research for me about this, how you think a ritual like this might be accomplished, I'm going to go and find my other friend. He suffered a great loss this morning, and I want to make sure he is okay. And I think maybe a bit of gold might cheer him up. Don't you think so, Tom?
If I know anything about Kirkfall, a little bit of gold never hurts to raise a smile.
It's true. So could you do that for me, my friend Elmar? Do a bit of research for me in the library.
I will look into this for you.
Well, thank you very much. Then I will. I'll take my leave, and I will be back. Possibly tomorrow. Would you like to have breakfast?
I get up before the dawn, so yes, I would. Some breakfast would be lovely.
Okay, I'll meet you here, and we'll discuss what you may have seen or may have found, and I'll let you know what I've found. So
I will commune with the void in your absence. Then travel safely.
And you travel safely as well.
Well met, Elmar.
Well met, Tone. Safe travels to you as well.
Okay, I'll get up, give him the same kind of embrace he gave me at the beginning as a parting deal, and we'll head out. So
I'll follow behind him.
Where has Kirkfall been in the past, say, hour and a half? that you guys have been back in the city?
Kirkfall has been making his way to the dirt wall, to the home of Margaret and Stig. At least the home that he remembers, they should still be there.
They will be. She will be, however, weaving on a loom in their backyard. And as you know, you're always welcome. But yeah, she sits at the loom on a stool. She looks up at you warmly, and smiles. Good afternoon, Kirkfall. It's been a while. How are you? Do you need something to eat or drink?
All he does is just kneel down, and he lays Kveldov out before him.
This poor bearded folk woman, she shrieks initially and then falls upon the corpse. She buries her face, I suppose, in the neck of Kveldov. And she goes, "What happened to him? Where did you find him like this? Where was he going? He's been gone for chains now."
I was working, and it looks like he was also working similarly, for he had already done some of the job that I was already working on. You don't need to know the details, but he did. He felled the one that killed him. It was an Atean necromancer.
I mean, she's weeping at this point, and she tries and like reaches up for your hand to like squeeze whatever part of your hand that you'll offer her.
Yeah. Well, and he reaches out and grasps her over the corpse and holds her. But the Atean will not be riding the waves of the afterlife, as I have ensured that. He met a fiery end, even if it were after his own death.
She doesn't respond, but you know that she's hearing you.
Mm-hmm.
His father is working in the warehouse by the docks. Would you bring word of this, and I will attempt to prepare a funeral for him.
I will take care of the funeral. If you would just prepare his body, prepare him for Lekra.
I will try to. I will do what I can.
And he kisses her on the forehead. And he almost crushes her in an embrace before he remembers how she had told him and scolded him multiple times that while they were sturdy, they didn't always have the same. They couldn't stand up to the physique of an ogre at times. And he backed off, and he kisses her on the forehead before he gets up, and he begins walking down the street. A different look about him as he normally would. He usually has his head up and is aware and stuff. at this point, he's like a predator. His eyes are down, and he's looking forward as if he's going for a prey. Not that he is going to attack Stig or anything, but what's on his mind is just vengeance, frustration, confusion, especially considering the darkness that swells in his breast, and the spirit, the damage to the spirit. And as he makes his way down the cobbled street, he circles the corner and sees the sign hanging over the warehouse, and he stops, leans up against the wall as he looks around just for a moment, and actually, again, for the first time, probably takes in the surroundings instead of just being a bulldozer through a throng of people. As he's scanning the crowd, and then he turns to walk into the probably stealing himself more than anything. And he walks into the warehouse and looks for Stig. And sees that he is currently helping them load a crate. And he walks over and just, without even a word, he just steps in and starts helping them.
Stig will look over and smile. He pats you on the shoulder as you're right next to him. He goes, "Thanks for the help, lad." But he stops. He knows you. As you know him, you know you're his son's best friend.
We need to go to the office.
All right.
I think you need to, and I turn to the other dwarf there. His nickname is Rafe, and I tell him he's going to need the rest of the afternoon off.
The quartermaster will just look suspiciously and he'll nod. He'll turn back to the rest of the bearded folk there and just start barking orders, rounding them up for the next load.
Get what you need. We need to. Margaret needs you. More
Margaret,
will be revealed.
What is wrong? Tell me.
We'll speak when we get there. Please, we must hurry. Time is of the essence.
He goes back to his area, gathers his satchel. He slips off his boots for his home sandals, if you will, and takes up his axe, and then comes back and walks with you and kind of gets.
Yeah, and I'm basically I'm doing what I did before, where I'm basically no fucks given. I am just walking down the street, pushing people out of the way if I have to make. For
God's sakes, lad! What? Just let's hear it.
No.
What's going on? Is my wife in trouble? Is she hurt? What? Or did Kveldov come back? What? Come on now, hear me.
No.
What is this?
We need to get home.
All right, then he picks up his pace at least a little bit, but he's not happy, but he's listening to you.
Yeah, my voice kind of trails off when I say home. Like my voice breaks a little.
Well, you're always safe with us. That your bed is still there. Is something wrong with you? It is
No,
your mother. What? You guys get back to the dirt
mom.
wall and
Mom passed 5 years or more than 5 years ago. Remember?
oh
That's
I
probably
am
out of character. So
I am
yeah, remember Kirk Fall's mom passed away several years after his dad, and then he stayed with Stig and Margaret.
oh
So yeah, he wouldn't.
Stig works 80-hour weeks. He doesn't he can't remember who's alive or dead anymore.
Yeah, yeah, he's like,
You guys get back.
Mom passed a while ago.
Oh, that
And
oh,
I stop and I
that
kneel down and I
stings
kind of
me.
look him in the eye, and I'm not looking in his eye like a kid. I'm looking at him like a friend, and I just say,
What's up? What
she
is
needs you right now.
it? He runs past you into their house. I mean, axe drawn as if he's going to fell a tree or somebody else. And
Not that way. Not that way. Not that way.
As he comes into their, I suppose their front area of the hovel. Kveldov is on the table, and there's several other members of the community there, and they've lit candles and they're preparing something. And I suppose for that first time, the first time ever, that bearded folk, the one stronger, tougher than Eben, he starts to he drops his axe on the floor, and he just breaks down. One of the few men in Kirkfall's life that you didn't think had the ability to weep. He always had a joke to when someone was unhappy. He could always put a smile on your face, but this dwarf in front of you, as he holds his wife, as they weep together for their only son.
Yeah, Kirk Vall walks up behind him, his face very moist and his nose leaking. He picks up the axe and carries it to the spot on the mantle where he rests it. And he just kind of stares for a minute, taking in the naked form of Kveldov.
He Stig, between his sobs, he kind of croaks. He turns to Kirkfall and kind of like reaches out for you. Big callous dwarven hand. Did you bring him back, boy? Did you just earlier this morning? What is come here? And he kind of he pulls away from his wife and kind of gives you this fatherly hug. He tries and squeezes you as hard as you're gonna hug him back. And
yeah, and he takes the embrace. And
yeah,
I brought him back just moments before I gathered you.
On the left side of your face, it's just tears and beard. He's a very tough dwarf, but right now he cannot be strong right now.
Kveldov was the man you raised him to be. He was the bearded folk that you expected. I found him in the throes of battle, the final stages, that is. He had already passed, but he won.
He
was.
Thank the gods.
Seems that he was following a similar job that I was on, and taking out fell magic, and had fell and Matean necromancer.
For a time when you were abroad, he started taking jobs from the Spider. The Spider was starting to pay him very well. He worked his way from being a courier to an alley knife. Nothing so low as a pickpocket or a cut purse. No, he worked for the Spider, and he was paid very well.
Spider does pay well,
but Kveldov knew it was dangerous work, but I'm glad to know that my son went out in a fight and that he won.
Yeah. And his foe fell to flames without his eyes to see, and will never sail the eternal oceans.
Thank you for bringing him to us, Kirkval. Thank you. Actually, out of character here, would Stig actually know your name?
Yeah, he probably would.
Know your childhood name? Okay.
Yeah, Yarrow.
Then he would not call you Kirkval. He would actually address you as the name that your mother gave you.
Yeah, it would be Yarrow.
Thank you. Thanks, boy. Will you stay for the funeral, or... He looks out the front door, and you follow his gaze out there, and standing in the doorway to their hovel is Blackheart. He's leaning against the doorway. Goes, came as soon as I heard. He walks in. Thankfully, Horatio always wears black, so he fits into a group of mourning individuals.
Right.
The Spider wishes to grieve with the Stig household. And he takes out a small bag of coin. He drops it on the table next to Kveldov's, by his feet. Pulls the drawstring, opens it slightly, half dumps it out. It's a small bag of platinum coins. Kveldov was a very skilled, very knowledgeable associate of the Spider. He hopes that this would ease the pain. Horatio turns. He just nods to Kirkval. I'll see you around, little brother. And then he leaves.
I will make arrangements with. Out of character, there's a Temple of Lekra in town. It's common.
There is not. Lekra is not worshipped here, not legally.
Oh, but his family were Lekra worshippers.
Well, if that's the case, then they would have done it in secret.
Well, then how would we accommodate for a burial for them then?
You wouldn't invite people of the watch, or you wouldn't let the watch see?
So there has to be some sort of priest of Lekra.
Well, in a matter of speaking, perhaps.
Okay. High Priest Og, the silent monolith?
Oh, the silent monolith is worshipped in Felport, so the
Oh,
closest
right.
thing. Many bearded folk actually worship him, so that'd be your closest thing to their pantheon as you could possibly get.
Well, out of character, I was going off of the write-up, so it might be possible that they worship the silent monolith.
Perfect. That's fine. But yeah, you could get a
So-
priest of the silent monolith to do the ceremony for you.
So at that point, I will tell them that I will make arrangements with the Church of the Silent Monolith, and when would be appropriate? How soon?
Well, you're not actually at the temple. That would actually be within the city. You are outside the city currently.
Right. I'm asking.
Oh, out of character, they probably would take several hours to get down there.
No, I'm asking when, in character, I would be asking Stig how soon he wants to have the ceremony and say goodbye.
Oh, I see. Now I gotcha. No, they would let him rest for maybe 2 chains at most, and then they would do the ceremony.
Okay.
And
So
then, obviously, then put him in the ground.
So I will let them know that I will go make arrangements for that and ensure that I bring back the appropriate apothecarian items to ensure that the body will remain. And I will be in contact with them as there are. And I just kind of, my eyes just well up as I look at the ceiling, and I just say that the sky is darkening, and I will have to grieve instants, short moments, as best that I can steal with you. I hope you understand.
We know that you have work to do.
And I put my hand on his chest, on his heart, and I say, Bloodbeard was doing the same work. So
We know.
Yeah. So I give him a big hug, and then I get up and exit, and then quickly make my way to the Church of the Silent Monolith, and make the arrangements for the ceremony, and then stop by the apothecary to get the the appropriate herbs to, help the body stay at least smelling well enough. Maybe some liquids
Oh
that
yeah,
will, you
they
know
would
what I
have
mean?
they would have called for an undertaker to take care of that for you. So you didn't
No,
have
I
to
mean,
be extra.
I would be taking care of that as much as I could for them.
Oh, all
So,
right.
yeah.
I'm talking about the priests would do that for you.
Oh, I got you. But then I'm going to get a little bit on the way back just to be
Okay.
sure. Yeah.
So
And
they will have extra. I hear you.
yeah. So how much total would it be? Since I'm
No,
taking.
we won't worry about that for now.
Well,
You'll be covered.
okay. Well, I'm wanting them to keep that bag of platinum all to themselves, and was thinking Kirkfall would just pay for the funeral and the stuff like that.
That's fine. Right here, we will take our first 10-minute break, and we will reconvene here in a few minutes. Or
Cool.
See you guys in a few minutes.
see ya.
Yep.
All right, we're back.
Welcome back.
Welcome, welcome.
So, well, looks like we have somebody here.
Maybe shy one.
Maybe. Dave, where you be? Nah, it's all right.
So we've had a couple of visitors to the live broadcast tonight there.
Yeah, I saw that. We had a few on and
That's
off.
good. That's good. A little bit here, a little bit there. Next thing you know, you got 50,000 followers and YouTube's trying to throw money at you. But
I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll see. That'd be cool.
you never know. It would be cool. It'd be like Dave and be famous and stuff.
Yeah, that
Famous.
Morning Blade Games brand that he's toting around on my channel. Yeah.
So
It's just for fun.
always.
And then YouTube will try and throw money at you.
I'm not. I don't have the what do you call it? The reimbursement turned on or whatever.
Ah.
So
Uh,
yeah.
Yeah. Someone once told me that the best way to make $1 million in the RPG industry is you start with $5 million, and you end up with 1 million. So,
right?
because it is all for fun.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could. I don't post consistently enough. I mean, I think it's fun to just post a video when I have a good idea or whatever, but I just don't have the time to do it to make a job out of it. So
All right, guys. What I'm gonna do here for the next bit for the rest of the session, we're gonna fast forward through the funeral preparations. I can get back to your guys' mission. Their mourning period is going to be 2 chains anyway. There's not much else you're going to be able to do for them to begin with. Are you guys regrouping at the Devil's Rest? That seems to be your regular rendezvous.
Yeah, that's where Tone would think to go to meet up with Kirkfall.
yeah, I think we still have a room there. So
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, you do. All right. So, sometime earlier later that evening, before the sun actually begins to set, around 4 p.m. in the evening, the sun is all but much. It is much much more dim than you'd think naturally possible or feasibly possible for this stage. The sun begins to kind of flicker almost as if it's a candle, and there are some relatively frequent but not any sort of rhythmic pattern. There are tremors. Every so often there will be a ripple that goes through the ground and you'll actually feel it. It's almost as if the world itself is rotating beneath you. And the three of you meet up on the front doorstep of the Devil's Rest. What do you do?
To get rid of that book? Or is that toilet paper in the room?
We dealt with a book, and we have your pay.
Oh, good.
Well, Tone has your pay.
Or maybe I don't. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'll take off my pouch and the bit to Kirkfall.
Wow. He kind of looks at him and looks at his crotch area, and he's like, "You're developing a sack there. Good for you." He's giving him shit because he was so submissive when we first met. He's like a little bit of the slave thing that carried over.
It's that ogre rubbing off on me.
Yeah. Let me get me a napkin for that.
I'll just sort of shake my head and laugh at that passing comment and slap Tone in the back. Say, "You were submissive before, huh? Well, we'll fix that right up. No man who carries a sword and shield in this town can be submissive for long."
Oh yeah, my axe has definitely been helping me.
Yeah. Oh yes, and carry an axe too, and I laugh at that too. Ha ha ha.
As you retreat to your inn room, another more forceful tremor rocks through the inn. Not enough to knock anything over, but enough to startle the inn-goers.
That's not good.
I didn't think this place was subject to those kind of tremors, but
it's not. Not normally.
And something else we can lay at the feet of these conspirators. I have a friend of mine working on finding out what's going on here exactly. Well, I'm trying to at least. He's his name is Elmar. He's a fairly well-known oracle. He should know things, or at least have things for us by morning. Well, I hope he does.
An oracle, huh? So
yes,
he knew you were coming.
Well, I asked him that, and he said he was looking elsewhere. So.
Made you feel better.
Yeah, I always ask him that, yes, upon meeting him. Did you see me coming? So, matter of fact, when I was much younger, when I first arrived in the city, I would try to sneak up on him and never seemed to be able to. So.
Nice.
Yes.
So even though Kirkfall is joking with them, it's not as jovial as Dave is. He's not as responsive, I would think.
Yeah. But that's the only way I sort of know how to deal with loss, is to try to keep the person's spirits up. That's how Dragon will be dealing with this. So that and money. So, and then walk in and of course put a couple of gold on the count on the bar. Well, I look at those and I pull one more out, gradually slide it up there and say, "Bartender, is that enough to get an ogre drunk?"
That actually gets a laugh out of it.
I can get an ogre drunk. The barkeep this evening is a rather striking fire fae. She's she's a little scantily clad, and maybe that's just for the tips, But she winks over at Kirkfall, and she goes, "I can get an ogre drunk."
I lean over and say, and then maybe after we could attempt a forest fire.
A forest fire? What? Why?
I sort of grin, and realizing that the joke sort of fell flat. The line, if you know what I mean.
No.
So, Igniad, Arborean, forest
No.
fire.
I see. No, she thought you were talking about Kirkfall yet.
Oh no. Okay, I'll toss a few more silver up on the counter and say I apologize about that. That was a horrible thing for me to do. I'm a guard. I shouldn't be trying that kind of things. But yes, my ogre friend over here lost a very close friend of his today, and he needs to get drunk.
Yeah, and comedy night is on 2 days from now.
Yes, my delivery was sort of wooden.
Oh my God! Come on.
But that's where that will end. So,
Jesus, dude.
Plus
Dragon's
10
not a comedian.
experience.
Yeah, Dragon's not a comedian. He's trying really hard. So,
Well, just for Kirkfall, do you want comedy night to be tonight? Because I'll do that for you.
No, not really.
There's a rather dweeby looking minstrel up on the stage up there, and he's really ratty looking. He looks like a peasant. He goes, I have a hobby. I collect things. My hobby is I collect dust. And that's the end of the jokes for the evening. And comedy night comes to an end. All right, back in
Get
character.
Get out!
All right. So she makes sure that your cup is not empty or not half full the entire night. Your drinks are well in advance paid. You guys have some downtime for the next several hours until dawn. What do you guys wish to do?
What's next? Do we need to speak to Spider?
I'm thinking maybe a quick meet wouldn't hurt.
Well, we can't bring Dragon.
why not? I can go in an unofficial capacity if you want, or do you think he would be upset?
How does that work exactly?
I mean, yeah, true. I mean, I'm thinking Dragon's probably into technically, I look over at you guys. You guys have been calling me a guard all this time, and I'm really not.
I thought you were.
No, I'm just a temple knight, the Green Knight.
Oh,
you
you
guys
just worked with the guard.
Yeah, you just assumed I was the guard. I was a guard, so I'll let you guys, continue the idea. It helped, but I'm not. Don't worry. I can't actually arrest you or anything.
Well, I mean, I guess then you probably could go with us too, as long as you don't share, because then we'd all get murdered. But you obviously realize how powerful he is.
I've heard of him. Yes, he can make individuals disappear at command, basically. So yes, I understand that he is a very dangerous individual, and I can keep my mouth shut, but I can also keep anyone off your back as well, if need be.
Okay.
And I promise, no jokes there.
Would it be good to go see Spider? That's directed towards Rafe.
I don't know. Would you guys like to go see the spider? This is your caper. I just want, it's up to you guys.
Well, shit's going down, and we need to figure out what's going on. Obviously, the White Lord is awakening. And Tone's about to say something, and I'm cutting him off.
No,
I'll
you
just
know,
keep
but
talking.
a couple hours, and couldn't hurt to, even if we can't get information out of him, maybe we can get a feel from him, whether or not we can tell he's lying. See if he knows anything.
Yeah, so we go see him.
Alrighty. A few hours later, you find yourself in the spider's safe house. He's actually not there. He was actually sleeping. This is sometime later in the middle of the night. He is aroused and then brought to his audience chamber to meet you.
I feel very important.
He's a little surprised to see you and looking at you three. His eyes rest on Dragan for a few moments, maybe a little uncomfortably, perhaps. He goes, "Oh, I have not had my halls graced by an Arborian in many cycles. Hello
Well,
there."
the good news, the good part about this is that this Arborian seems to be on a similar path than we are, based on our recent financial endeavor.
Yes, I heard that your friend met a very untimely end. Hopefully he cut a couple throats before he finally expired, but my
He completed
condolences,
his
your new
task,
friend.
yes. Thank you. It's dirty work working for the spider.
You know I
Sometimes,
take
not
friendship.
always.
Oh?
Oh,
Do
I'm just
you,
saying that sometimes, not always.
do I not give you reliable work?
It's reliable.
He kind of eyes you real suspiciously, like, choose your next
It's
words carefully.
it's reliable. Just means that it doesn't mean that it's not dangerous. That's what I meant.
Perhaps I
Very
should give you more
adventurous.
dangerous work.
Okay. As I kind of flex my forearms and give him a fake smile.
He just winks at you as he climbs the dais there to sit on his throne. Oh,
Throne or
and
not,
as
he was a friend of mine, like a brother. I don't know if you know that intimacy with a friend or not.
I know the intimacy there, and as our agreement, he just flicks a platinum coin at you. Yes,
That's
that
fine.
should cover our agreement.
Do you have news? I hand it to Tone. What can you tell us about what's happening? It would be very beneficial to what's going on for everyone involved.
Do you think I know why the sun is dimming? No, I do not.
Do you
Why are
want to
there now?
know?
Why are there earthquakes? I do not know this either. I would like to know, yes. I've sent Blackheart out into the field to see what's going on, but these tremors are seeming to come from the mountains north of the city. Perhaps the Umbriads, my kin, and he kind of eyes the shadows in the room a little closely, and your traveling companion who is absent this evening. We all share a common ancestor. I suppose they would have answers there. I'd say dig there. See what the Queen can tell you.
Mountains to the north, huh?
Yes.
Big good place for a ritual, I would assume.
Oh, there are worse things than Umbriads up in those mountains, I assure you.
I'm well aware.
Let's just say that we're dedicated to helping cause these, or stop the cause of these. Which, what else do you know about what was going on in the...
The only thing I understand about what's been going on is there's a web near to my own. And it's crossing the threads of my web and coming into my home and poisoning my streets. So, are you volunteering yourself for this task?
Yes, Tom?
Oh, I was going to say, while they're talking, I'm going to turn to Dragon and whisper, we should check in with Aelmar and see what he knows about the stuff to the north, what he can tell us about the tremors.
I'll lean over to him, definitely. I want to ask you a few questions, though. Just watch my back, just in case.
And I look over, and I would imagine that I hear you talking, and I say that based on our recent work, I believe that my friend Dragon Meat Spider, is entitled to at least a conversation with some questions. Let me just say that we have fought shoulder to shoulder, and I believe that he'd be a trustworthy individual. And if you trust me, then you would trust him. Do you need a persuasion?
That's not going to work on him.
Okay.
He's just going to shoot back. Well, if you find yourself an Arborian friend in this lifetime, I suggest you hold on to him.
Well, you say there are things crossing your web that are interfering with your operations, and your streets are being poisoned. It's in my interest to make the poison go away just as much as it is yours, I'm sure. And if this sun goes out, and as I think I saw written recently from someone who may be involved in the conspiracy, is blotted out and we are plunged into darkness, I think we'd all have a bit of a problem with that now, would we not? So I'm just saying I believe our interests are the same and aligned in this one. Now, when you say poison, do you mean literally, as in, like, say, by lots and lots of moonglove?
No, I'm meaning metaphorically.
Ah, gotcha. So, metaphorically. Well, as I have told my my friends here, there's a certain pulse to a city's survival. And that pulse has a has a high point and has a low point. Those points have to be defined. I personally would like to have the low point defined by someone we know rather than someone we don't. So it's in my interest that you stay right where you are. I don't have an interest in pulling down your organization. I don't have an interest in exposing you to anyone. So if I were to do so, someone else would just move into the void and We know nothing about them at all. You at least we can deal with. Because after all, you did let me walk in. And I offered you no
Looks at you
malice.
rather suspiciously at that last comment.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
Mm-hmm. So, I would like to offer you a, well, I guess partnership is a little bit too broad of a word, but say a solution to this overall problem in the form of I will tell you what I have learned and what the church knows about this if you do the same for me. What do you know about this? What information have you gleaned about this web that you're wanting to get rid of?
So you want to make a deal, I suppose, then?
Well, a mutually beneficial arrangement more than a deal, actually. I have something you may want. You have something I may want.
I see. And if I give you the information that you need,
Mm-hmm.
you will tell me what the church knows?
As I will tell you what we have gleaned so far about this situation, and maybe with our combined information, we may figure out what's actually truly going on here and figure out how to stop it, and how to keep all of our streets alive and poison free.
I see. But are you speaking to me as an Arborean of the West, or are you speaking to me as a Green Knight of the Silent Monolith?
At the moment, I'm speaking to you as a Green Knight of the Silent Monolith who has been placed upon the path of dealing with this thing.
I see. I suppose in this arrangement we could be friends.
Acquaintances, let's say. Because I don't believe that you want to be that close to me any more than I will be that close to you. But I will extend my hand out. Acquaintances are still cordial. So
he smiles so damn evilly at you.
That's fine. I smile with a slight twinkle in my eye. So
what I know of this is there is a great network of those who practice the shadows. They dance with them. They pervert they pervert white magics into foul magics. And they harvest things that would inevitably destroy this city. I do know of a being. I do not know where this being lairs, but I know who does know where this being lairs. This being used to be an ancient thing known as Seloth. Likely the local boogeyman used to scare children to stay home at night. However, as I stated, I don't know where he lairs. But my kins, the Umbriat, would. They were the ones who slew him. However, a hate like that doesn't die easily, or will not die a death you know. He looks at Tone and like to punctuate it. You, the mortal, would not know a death like this.
yes, because he has become, well, something outside of death. Yes, we are familiar. We are familiar with him, and we do know he has been active all around the area. There have been at least 3 known instances where he has had minions doing something. The reports say that he was trying to drain the life force, I guess you could say, of our shadowkin over in the alley to the south. There was a giant that apparently was causing great damage and guess pillaging villages, off to the northeast. And then we had this fellow here in our own graveyard who was apparently harvesting moonglove and was also dabbling in multiple pillars of magic. And I trust you know what that means.
I know exactly what this means.
Mm-hmm. We believe that Seloth, or at least from what I've been able to garner, is trying to basically literally blot out the sun. Be that to murder the sun or to just make it go dark, I don't know.
And without the sun, the harvest will not grow, and the city will starve.
Right. And those things that don't like the sun will be free to walk about as they wish. And from what I understand,
I don't think I need to remind you of the darkness.
Right.
Or those who revel in it.
Not at all. Those who revel in it will use any means necessary, even the innocent, as I sort of make a bit of a shudder uncomfortably in their machinations. Don't want that to happen. So, could you get us an introduction to your kin who might be able to tell us where Seloth is laired? In exchange?
Oh, I will do you even better than that. He calls for one of his attendants to bring him something. He brings over a small coffer.
Pardon.
And he takes out what looks to be kind of like it is a belt pouch that is about 4 inches wide, about 11 inches long. So it's like a deep, kind of a lengthy pocket. Has one flap over the top of it. He takes this whole thing out and he tosses it down the dais to you.
I'll reach out and attempt to grab it before it actually hits the ground.
Okay.
Look
you
into it.
Easily.
Raise the flap, look and see what's in there.
It is an ebon seal that's about 11 inches long that has runes and the Fey script along it.
Okay.
This will open any Fey door that you find, especially the Umbriads. The Umbriads will not be pleased to see foreigners in their caves and caverns if you show them this. They won't kill you straight away.
This sounds so fun. And I'll sort of giggle like that. And I'll look up at the spider and I'll say, Spider, thank you. I had been told rumors that you were a, unsavory individual, but those rumors have been, somewhat dashed. But I can say this, you are a good citizen of the city.
Oh, he gives you another evil as shit grin.
I can tell you this will not be in vain. We shall deal with this and hopefully restore the sun into its former glory if that is possible, or at least halt its dimming. But I'll look at Kirkfall and say, Kirkfall, the people that are doing this caused the fall of your friend. I hold out the seal. Would you like to lead us on in his honor?
I'd be glad to.
Okay. I'll hold the seal out to you then and pass it over to you.
I inspect it. Can I read it?
Can you read Feywise?
I can.
Let's see. Nope. Ogren, Ebonies, Ecrakes, and Bearded Folk.
Then no, you cannot.
Okay. Well, having looked at it, I have a general sort of a gist of what it says.
Without taking the whole thing out of its pouch, you did read all doors open before the bearer.
Okay. It opens doors. So, but I don't think we need to take up more of Spider's time than we have. Would you agree, gentlemen?
Yeah. He's been sufficiently helpful.
I'm sure he's a busy man.
I'm sure he is. It's we woke him up from a nice little nap. We appreciate that.
I'll turn towards him and give him a bit of a military bow of respect and say, "Thank you very much for your assistance, and we'll be in touch."
Safe travels, gentlemen, and good luck.
Thank you. All right. I guess at that point, probably head out and get a little bit of rest. Whew.
Yeah.
Been drinking, talking to a spider, got a seal. Once we do get out of there, I'll ask you for the seal back and actually read the whole thing so I can tell you what it actually says. I didn't want to read it in there just in case. So I'm sure he knows what it says, but you know.
Now the bottom half says all metals are, oh god, how did I actually word it here? Say all metals pale in comparison to Evan. All things submit to the black metal.
Okay. So bit of hyperbole in my mind.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll read it off to them and then know what exactly it says. And apparently, it's a key of some type that opens any Fey gate. Of course, that's sort of what Spider said. This just confirms it. So, I say we get some rest, and I'll speak with my friend at breakfast and see if he gets any additional light with this information on what's going on. So.
Yeah, Tone's definitely ready to head back for some sleep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Time to sleep.
So, at dawn the next day, you, as in Dragon, you wake up some minutes before the cockerel crows, and you go off to meet Elmar.
Okay.
The instructors at the library are actually served their breakfast in the library proper, so you have to go over there to actually meet him.
Okay.
But he, again, greets you, embraces you, thanks you for coming. And he says, I've been up all night for this. I want you to know, I exhausted everything that I have. He's got bags under his eyes. And he looks a little ripped. Clearly, he's been communing with the void. I am well, however. I am well. I am not entirely drained of my art. But one thing that I have noticed, my colleagues and I are struggling with our rituals, and our secrets are harder to tap into. Our pillars are not responding as they should. And this
It's because there's a web of
Right.
shadow lit across the city. Did you notice that?
I did see,
Hmm.
and the void said to me that an era, a darkness is coming. It is not just a shadow over Felport, it's a shadow over Arklenheart itself.
Is there no way to stop it? Slow it down? Reverse it? That you've been able to see?
One of the many focal points. I know that this must be Seloth.
Yes.
Only a being so foul and so powerful can command such darkness. Now,
I have some information that he's hiding among the Ebonies.
he wouldn't be hiding amongst us.
Well, being worshipped by some, possible, more likely, actually.
Worshipped, yes, but according to the lore and the stories, the Umbriats cut his hands off, broke his legs, and then cast him into a place called Dreadgor's Rift.
Dreadgor's Rift.
Yes.
Where would that be exactly? North of here, possibly in the mountains?
Well, it is beyond the mountains. He brings you over to a map. He goes, you know this mountain range here, and that you actually the mountain range that he points out is the Great Divide. You actually had to travel over here from the west to actually get here.
Right. Okay.
But the mountain range that you kept on your left-hand side, traveling to Felport across the tradeways, is the northern span. Dreadgor's Rift is somewhere in there. Several hundred miles away and over 4,000 miles of mountain peaks.
Would there be by chance a Fey gate that would get us closer nearby that you're aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, but the most powerful Fey presence is the Umbriad.
True. So if we were to enter the Umbriad's territory, we could possibly find their ways of getting from one place to the other there.
Those gates are heavily guarded, and they kill everyone on sight.
On sight, of course.
Of course.
So if we're not seen, then
it is hard to hide in a shadow that is cast by Fey of shadow flesh. This would be. I understand what you're trying to say.
Right.
But this is without an invitation. The Umbriad would slaughter you.
I may actually have an invitation.
Oh well, then that solves your problem.
Right. So it looks as if I'll be leaving Felport for a few days at least, possibly a little bit longer, and try to fix this thing. So
I can.
Could you enlighten the way?
I can do what I can. I'll try.
Okay. All right. I'll get up, do the forearm handshake with him. My friend, you do your best and I'll do mine. And hopefully we'll meet back here again over drinks and laugh about this at some future date. in the bright sunshine. If not, it's been good knowing you.
I have not foreseen your death for many cycles. I don't think you'll fall on this adventure. But then again,
minor tones.
you guys aren't there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So, okay. I'll shake his hand. I'll say, but you never know what the fates can hold in store, even though you think you can see it. Just like you couldn't always see me coming up behind you to tickle your ear with a feather.
That's because I let you.
Yeah. It's what you always say. I'll laugh with him. Well, my friend, I must be off. My companions will be awakening soon. So, good health to you.
Good health to you as well. Safe travels.
Okay. I'll head back to where we're staying at with the information I have for them.
All right.
And I will pass on everything he told to me and such that to them as well.
What is a Faygate?
Rafe, you want to explain that one?
Oh, I was waiting for you to explain it. Faygate is a portal, mostly portals to the fairy realm. In Arklanar's cosmology, the world is a flat disk world that is encircled by the fairy realm. And each of these Fey gates, as high-level wardens, the 10th level warden spell is actually Fey Gate. They can actually create a portal to this fairy realm, this realm of kind of ethereal Fey perfection. It's not heaven in a way. It's not that. It is a place where all the Fey energies radiate from and then imbue themselves into the world of the mortal realm of Arklanar.
And
or it is a portal from one end of the world to the other. Simply that.
And would Kirkfall know that, or
No, these are essentially
okay? So
high
it's
Fey
appropriate
secrets.
for me to ask then.
Yeah, it absolutely is.
Okay.
So, yeah, I basically would convey what Rafe has just told you, basically, that these are gates that the Fae have that can transport people from one place to another very rapidly. You know, and there are a few nearby. The Ebonies would have some. My own people have them. So I'm sure that that key that you were given will get us access to that. I just hope it will be seen as an invitation, the fact that we're carrying it. So,
Okay.
So, and yes, as also we need to, as quickly as possible, I sort of look upwards toward the ceiling, my gaze going sort of focused beyond that into the skies toward the east. We probably need to do this as fast as possible. So as soon as your friend is laid to rest, we'll need to take to the road.
So 2 chains is almost 2 weeks, right? A little over 2 weeks.
2 chains is 20 days.
No.
Almost 3 weeks.
No, a chain is 10 days.
So
a chain is a week.
in our current setting. world, it would be almost 3 weeks.
Right.
But we're not there. I'm using the vernacular of the setting.
Right. You're right. My apologies. So, how long would this trip? We don't know how long this trip would take.
You don't.
I
Well,
do have a bit of a, as I say, putting your friend to rest. It's almost like I'm trying to respect the tradition, but at the same time, it's like, I wish you would hurry up. But how it goes. Each has their own traditions.
yeah,
And I know.
Kirkfall is going to go say goodbye, and literally, not verbally say it, but he's going to give the impression that he is saying goodbye to the family. And I'm not to the family permanently, but to Kveldov.
The deceased, yes.
And he makes it so that the final lets his friend go to the afterlife. Then he comes back and lets him know that he's ready to go.
All right. I do recall that Tone had some smithing work being done. Would that be?
I was just gonna say I'd like to go in there with my current platinum and see if there's something I could just get right away, even if it's not my best plate.
The last time you guys were there, he said that he did not have anything prepared for you.
Thank you. That's right. So
All of his projects were made to order at this time.
and Tone is good to go.
All right. So I suppose with that, well, I'll purport to the temple, let them know that I'll be on extended duty with this, and tell them what's sort of, well, I ask for an audience with the high priest to let him know what's going on, basically.
Oh, they know. they
Yeah.
know. They have their spies.
Oh, I'm sure. All those frickin' ravens. So yes, I will, and I'll, I guess, can I requisition a horse or a couple of
You
horses possibly? Okay. And then get that in some provisions and prepare to head to the mountains. So that's where we're going to need to go. So saddle up, ride them out. Rawhide.
Rolling, rawhide. There you go.
Yeah, what's Kirkfall writing?
Nothing.
Yeah, obviously. Son of a...
Hey, man, you want to play a badass ogre? Guess who doesn't get to ride mounts? Anyway. No, you guys are going to be on the road for a couple weeks at this point. But no, it takes you only a handful of days to get to where that half-scrawled map that you found in the bottom of the pouch that you got with the seal, the ebon seal.
Okay. Would you like a traveling check?
Please do.
Do we all do it?
No, just one person.
14. 24.
24. All right.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, you guys are making damn good time. Okay. So you find yourself near to where Felport's ebon mines are. As you wandered up the mountainside, it kind of snakes back and forth. You go through the checkpoints. Amazingly, the Ebon Guard there that are manning these checkpoints, these highways are actually the most guarded tradeways in the Ebon Vale because, as you know, Ebon is Felport's lifeblood. And the Overseer would be damned if Ebon ore finds its way into the hands of any of its enemies. You will also find at several points there are thieves and criminals crucified on the side of the mountain. You finally get up to one of its many summits. You're past the snow line at this point, and I know you guys have dressed for the travel. You're safe from the elements for now. And just on the next peak, you can see a cave, and there's a crag there. The next peak is where you need to go. What I need is another traveling check, and Tone, if you want to do it this time. Dragon got us there. Tone, you will actually get us part of the way as well.
Uh, 20.
Perfect. You guys are able to scale across the jagged edges of the cliff. You find your way to that crag, that lonesome, foul crag. It has a very spooky air to it. Now, within is a rough-hewn stairway, a narrow one. So on one side, it's just a chasm that goes all the way down into the black. Gods forbid you slip and fall here, because some of these steps are icy due to the snow and the howling winds. And the chasm itself echoes and almost screams at you, because as this cleft in the rock has formed, the wind rips across that opening and it whistles. It's almost as if the entire gap sings to you, and it sings in an awful, mournful tone that in your soul it eats at you. Not enough to not in the way that the shadow sickness would begin to eat at you. By the way, your that lingering the penalty to your spirit has actually gone away. Sidebar. So this mournful moaning, whistling of the wind, just it chills you as you go deeper still down into the black. You've traveled for several miles. You have no idea what time of day it is anymore. Do you light a torch?
I have my my lantern and a candle thing that I'd probably light up.
Okay. All right. That small candle illuminates at least part of the way. You stop and rest. You assume night fell some hours ago, and you sleep. But you continue on for a few more days. And when your candle finally goes out, almost claustrophobically, the cave's walls close in on you. It's hard to breathe here. You're about to go insane, clawing at the walls, trying to stumble around in the dark. Every kicked stone, every scuff of grit or sand. You have no idea if it's a goblin coming out of the shadows or anything like that. or worse. Still, you travel on until you see across a great open gallery a faint blue torchlight. A single blue flame. What do you do?
Well, first off, I'll look at it and see if it's anything that I recognize, if it's, a natural flame or if it's some kind of a lure, possibly.
Oh no, that is witch fire. You don't have to roll for that
That
shit.
is
That
witch
is
fire.
witch fire.
Okay. That's associated with the bad thing, obviously. I will relay that to my companions. That's witch fire. That's not.
Before we continue,
Mhm.
how loud do you say that here?
Well, it'll literally be a lean over towards my companions, now that they can see me, motion them closely, and just saying very quietly, witch fire. I'm sure it will probably still sound like a loud noise.
At this point, I assume you've been trying to be as quiet as humanly possible, but even a whisper here sounds like you're screaming.
Okay. So, yeah.
However, how do you proceed?
Stealthily. I'm readying my shield and spear just in case. And just trying to get my mind in the proper mind frame to defend myself.
Okay.
And I guess approach the witch flame, because that's the closest thing in the area to anything. So it's better than wandering around in the dark, I guess.
I actually got a 31 because I had an explosion with that. So I hold up my hand and I start edging forward.
They're not going to be able to see your hand because it's pitch black, and that witch fire is maybe 500 yards away. So you're probably gonna have to reach out and touch these guys, and actually tell them to stop.
Yeah. So I reach out and put a hand on him and just say, shh, hold. And I stealth forward.
All right. Well, by the way, be sure to put a notch next to your cunning there. Well done, Kirkfall, again with that amazing stealth roll. So, as you approach the witch fire, you actually find yourself on a rock bridge. That's about 9 feet wide. So, you actually dominate most of the causeway here. And as you look down to your left and to your right, you actually see several hundred feet below you is actually a subterranean river. You actually see it, the witch fire kind of glint off of the ripples, the slow moving current. Gods forbid you fall, because you have no idea what's lurking up beneath the surface.
Yeah, and under the circumstances, Kirkfall actually kind of kneels down and takes a breast crawl, which makes it take a little longer, but it also gives him a little more stealth. And but under the circumstances, he felt it prudent.
I understand. Well done. Go for it. So, how close do you actually get to this witch fire?
Well, I keep edging forward until I can actually make out any shapes.
You actually see Oh, let's see. You can actually, I'd say about 100 yards away in pitch black with the witch fire there illuminating the area. You see an archway carved of black stone, and it's got two enormous these two doors. These double doors are at least 20, maybe 25 feet tall. And it looks like they open outwards, and these things are spiked, they're studded, and they're made of ebon. Clearly, this is a doorway to something incredibly important. But only one of the torches is actually lit.
What does that mean? I wouldn't know that, right?
No, you're not familiar with Umbriad culture at all.
So I would keep moving.
All right. How close do you actually get? Because pretty soon you will actually get into the area where it's illuminated.
Well, I keep going until I can discern any people or humanoid.
There's no people here. The only signs of life is you guys. Unless you
Okay.
would like to make an awareness roll.
Yeah. That's not good. I got double ones.
Oh, damn. Okay. Well, it is pretty dark out, so understandably speaking.
So I keep going.
All right. From across the bridge, we see Kirkfall actually enter the light zone.
I am moving quietly, at least.
Yeah, but you're sticking out because you're under the torchlight now.
Yeah.
What is the rest of us doing?
I almost call out, but then I think, no, I better not. But he seems to be in trouble, so I look over at Tone, I point toward Kirkfall, point towards us, and make a walking motion. And do that.
I'll nod, kind of bump him with my elbow and start walking forward.
Same here.
All right. I need well, as you guys are about to step onto the bridge, I need both of you to make defense rolls, please.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
21 here.
Okay. And Tone?
23.
Ooh, okay. So there's you do feel that there's a few more, how do I want to say, presences. There are other people in on this landing with you. And for a few moments you actually feel there are hands upon you, like someone will reach out and grab one of the buckles for your breastplate or your belt or your sleeve or your arm, or the straps for your shield, and you actually pull down to the ground. And sounds of struggle here are actually deafening here in the absolute silence. And Tone, you'll actually see in your mid-struggle that Dragon's helmet is actually pulled off of his head.
Wow.
And One of the last things that Dragon will see is an incredibly attractive Umbriad woman. Long, gorgeous, thick, raven dark hair. And she's straddling you as she has her hands on like the buckles of your breastplate. And she says something in Shadow Fey wise, and she smiles at you like predatorially, and she leans down and she sticks her tongue down your throat is what she does.
Oddly enough, if we've been traveling for that long in the dark, I'll reciprocate.
Okay, so there's a brief conversation in Shadow Fey-wise, as finally a few moments later, as you guys are successfully like pig piled to the ground and disarmed,
Okay.
one of the Umbriads actually appears, and there's a witchfire globe in his palm, and he's illuminating the area, and he looks down at the both of you. It's a mixed group of men and women, and he just goes, huh. That's all he says. and there's just this awkward hanging in the air. What do you guys do?
Hi. I'll smile
I
at
hear
it.
this behind me.
You are about 500 yards away. So, but if you turn around, you will see a group of people there, and then you will see a light and your companions on the ground. And someone is actually sitting on Dragon.
Fuck.
All right, Tone, you haven't said anything all combat. What are you doing?
So I'm like knocked to the ground, or is somebody holding me down?
There's a couple people holding you to the ground. There is an ebon trident like at your throat.
I'll say that we have passage, nervously as hell. We have a writ passage to be.
Hey man, you're muted.
Sorry. Gonna be completely shocked. Gonna say that our companion we have a passage here.
And the one holding the flame looks at Tone, looks back at Dragon, and he switches to Ebony's, and he's got a real thick accent. The Ebon tongue on him is obviously not his first language. And he says, a passage, you say? Really? As all sorts of disbelief in his tone. He goes, all right, let's hear it. Almost as if, all right, I want to hear what BS they have this time and who I'm going to throw over the cliff. Kind of like this air he's got to him.
Okay. Well, once I'm done swapping tongues, I suppose, I'll look up at her and say, we'll talk later, beautiful. Lean around her toward the guy and said, Spider sent us.
The captain, you assume, the one holding the witch fire. Mm-hmm. He says, in your proof?
Our friend has it.
And like in unison, they all look across the bridge. Where's Kirkfall?
How would they see him, though?
You're standing under a torchlight. You haven't said anything about moving yet.
Hmm.
You
We
mean that
can.
ogre over there? The captain says.
Yeah, they're with me. You can let them go. It's fine. I'm holding up my 3-fingered hand.
Uh, well, for starters, Keith, she gets off of you and then grabs you by the front, like the collar of your breastplate, and then drags you to your feet.
Okay. Well,
a little bit stronger than she actually looks.
Yeah. I'll help. I'll help her as me getting myself to my feet. And I'll sort of smile at her, adjust the breastplate, and say, look, then bow to her and say, "My name is Dragon. What's yours?"
My name is Lorelei.
Hello, Lorelei. It's a beautiful name. I have this sort of that little smile on my face of like, I've just met the love of my life.
Well, the captain there barks a couple orders and everyone falls into line. The column behind you, the 8 of them there, they make you go across the chasm first. Once you guys regroup, what does Kirkfall do?
Yeah, they're with me.
Yes, we know, but what is this passage that we've been told about?
Spider. Spider gave us passage.
Yes.
I know.
And proof?
Did he give us proof out of character?
Yeah, you have the key.
Yeah, the seal.
The seal.
Yeah, at that point, I produced the seal then, and
So once you take the seal out, they there's kind of this collective gasp amongst the Shadow Fae there, and the captain just kind of looks wide-eyed and does interesting. And you say the spider gave this to you?
you don't know him?
Answer my question.
Yes, the spider gave this to us. You don't know him?
You're not in a place to ask me any questions. How do you know the spider?
I work for him. I've done some jobs. I'm in his confidence.
I'm an associate.
These are my associates, yes.
I see.
An associate of the spider as well. He even said as much.
In what relation in associate? What is the nature of your work that you do for the spider? He's not talking to anyone directly, but he's asking the 3 of you.
I don't work for the spider. I am more of nature of somewhat friends.
I see.
Me more. Let's talk about me, because I am the most acquainted with the spider individual. I have worked for the individual. I've done some jobs for him, and I am in more of his confidence. My companions have, as Dragon says, is a friend of his, and Tone has also done a job for the spider. We are currently in need, great need. Time is of the essence. We are a competent party, but do we really look like we stole this or killed the spider to take this off of him? I'll just put that right out there.
What you look like is three fools wandering around in a cave, and you've gotten lost, and you've stumbled upon the Umbriad.
No, we need the Fedor.
And you heard that there is a Fedor here from whom?
The spider, I say in Feywise.
I see. Well, is that all that you require of us? Or do you wish to trade? Do you wish to seek work from us as well?
If our task is achieved, then most definitely.
Either way, the Queen would have to weigh your worth.
We don't have time for the Queen. The world. I mean, you've felt the tremors. You've felt the darken. You've seen the darkening of the sun.
The sun has no bearing on us. Why would we need that? Why should we be concerned about the star in the sky?
Forgive me. You live below the earth. You have not seen this, but there's been a darkening of the sun. We need the Faygate, and time is of the essence. The sooner the better.
And I am not going to give you access to the Faygate.
Beautiful.
The Queen alone will give that, if she finds you worthy.
What deems us worthy?
That is for her to decide.
Then take us to your queen. I'll chime in.
I'll lean over to Lorelei and say, "You won't be jealous, will you?"
She looks back, smirks, and winks.
I've heard he's hung like an ogre. I don't believe it, but
Big black redwood, strong like oak. Either way, I sort of grin at her with that one, and lead the way.
Nice. 10 XP, Keith. 10
Thank you.
XP. That's pretty damn great.
You've gotten better since the puns.
God, I hope so.
Yeah.
Well, the captain there says, well, I suppose if you have one of our ebon seals, I suppose that gives you right to enter our city. He barks an order at the door in particular, and the door creaks open real slowly as enormous heavy ebon doors open. And I think right there is where we're going to call it for tonight.
All right. And yes, my wife is very amused that there's a character named Lorelei in this.
Nice.
Especially with that specific situation.
All right, guys. Thank you for tuning in. For those of the few who actually did, we don't have any viewers now, but thanks for stopping in, guys. We'll pick this up next week. Good night, everybody.